I'd love to help you out of pain, and I'd love to give you an acronym that you can use like a daily checklist to just check in with, to do your best to manage your pain. But ultimately, I would love for this to be a chance and a way of giving you hope that you can get through your pain and you can get stronger and you can get back on your feet. So the word relief, and I'll go through the words, but quickly, this only comes from experience. I learned this through many hours on the gym floor, many hours in a physio clinic. If a client or a patient came to me with pain, let's say they came to me with shoulder pain, and I just looked at the pain itself, and I did this in my early days. If I just looked at the pain itself, I realized that I'm just really focusing on one piece of the puzzle. I'm just looking at the physical aspect of it. I'm not looking at their mental, emotional side. I'm not looking if they're getting outside. I'm not looking at how well they're sleeping. I'm not taking into account that, oh, actually, they're going through a divorce, and that might be playing a big part in why this pain isn't healing, for example. And these are the points I'm going to go over. So I saw firsthand that pain isn't just a physical experience. It's a whole puzzle. And if we can piece the pieces together, and of course, if there's a direct trauma to your knee, or you've fallen over, or through wear and tear, arthritis, then yes, the physical pain is due to a certain reason. But there's no reason that we can't look at every other area to heal, to get through the pain, to help you be stronger. So what I'm saying is, I'm going to look at different areas for you tonight to take away. I'm a little tired, but hopefully this all makes sense. The first word, rest, sleep. We recover, we heal, we restore, we go through regeneration. Not when we're on, not when we're go, go, go. Oh, I've got to do this, I've got to get there, I've got to meet my people here, oh, I've got to do my exercises, I've got to get to the gym. It's when we rest. And within rest, specifically when we sleep. When we sleep, we heal the most, especially in those early stages, stage 3 sleep. Our cells produce the most human growth hormone. Human growth hormone is what's going to help us recover, what's going to help us replenish, what's going to look and send the army in and look at the pain site and send everything it can to heal for physical and of course mental, emotional repair when we sleep. But in the context of pain, physical repair. So getting to bed on time, being consistent with your sleep as best as you can is going to be super favorable to your sleep. But also rest in general. Like I said, when we're go, 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 our body is focused on the go, go, go. It's not now focused on your pain. So when we rest, when we put our feet up, when we have a laugh, when we read a book, when we get outside, when we go for a walk, when we hang out with a friend that we want to hang out with, when we put on our favorite TV show, when we stretch, when we go to that yoga class, when we go swimming, when we rest, our body has a chance to restore, replenish, repair. So making sure we're getting enough rest. The first part of the puzzle. The second part, eat nutritious. And I like to use an analogy here of, imagine there's a building site over here and it's been damaged, it needs repair done. So we call a bunch of builders up, construction workers up, hey, can you come fix the building site? And they come, but they don't have any tools. They don't have any tools or materials for the job. So they come and think, oh yeah, we see the damage here, but there's nothing we can do because we don't have the right materials. We're like, okay, great. Can you go and get the materials, please? And this is the same sort of concept of what nutritious food does. The construction site is like our body, and what needs repairing is like that pain. The workers coming in are the anti-inflammatory properties, are the white blood cells, are the, let's say, the fighters coming in to heal. And the materials are like nutritious food. Nutrient density, whole foods, lean protein sources, good fats, whole grains. They're the materials the workers, your body, can use to now rebuild, repair this building site, repair your pain. So it's just a good little analogy to think about. So thinking about, I'm just going to put, just to save time. By the way, I just recorded this, 20 minutes, and my phone didn't record. So let me check if it's still recording now. Okay, it's actually working on this one. So for time purposes, just think nutrient density. Can we up the density of our food? Fruits and vegetables. Berries are great. Loads of anti-inflammatory properties within that. Good fats, lean protein sources, whole grains. But I'm not saying never not eat anything hyper-palatable, delicious, a dessert, a bit of ice cream, a little bit of red wine with your friend. All I'm saying is try to up this. Let's just give a rough percentage. 80 to 90% of your nutrition coming from mostly nutrient-dense foods, because what happens then, you've got all of those materials coming into that construction site to repair, to replenish, to restore. If it's the other way round, if we're having more hyper-palatable desserts, ice creams, chocolates, cakes, ready meals, takeaway meals, we don't have the right materials for the job for our body to heal. There's more inflammation in there, especially if we're sensitive to certain foods. The ultra-processed foods isn't what we want when we want to get that healing done. But like I said, I'm not saying never eat them. We've got to enjoy life, right? It's just saying try to think about more nutrient density, coming back to that analogy, because then we have the materials and the tools. Cool. Moving on to light. You've probably heard me speak about this before, but Florence Nightingale, she was the founder of modern nursing. And during the Crimean War, she noticed her soldiers would, when they were asleep, would always gravitate, move their bodies naturally to the position of the sun where there was light. And even when they were awake, they would ask, hey, can you take me outside? Can you move me where the light is? Can you open the windows? So I feel our body has this instant urge, this natural inclination to want light, to want vitamin D, to yearn for the sun. And this is because the sun has so much healing properties, anti-inflammatory properties, amazing for your immune system. So many studies now showing the link between vitamin D and things like mental health, like depression. So vitamin D, we're not just thinking of sizzling in the sun. That's not what it's about, because we want to be safe. It's a case of thinking, can I get outside for 5 to 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes throughout the day, expose my body, and it doesn't even have to be in direct sunlight. In the shade, in clouds, when it's raining, if you're from England, that's what I'm used to. Your body will get exposed to vitamin D still. And within that vitamin D, promoting those healing properties that we want. When I sprained my foot, I used to just it was about 2 weeks ago, I used to just put my foot directly in the sun. This is a bit of bro science, I don't know if that was doing anything, but in my mind I was like, vitamin D going straight to my sprained ankle. So like I said, boosting, again, coming back to that analogy, boosting the materials, the anti-inflammatory properties, the immune response to target our healing, to look at our healing. Moving on to I, interaction, social health. Spending time with someone or people, family, friends that you want to spend time with, that you want to hang out with, that you want to have a laugh with, that you want to maybe just do nothing with. Sit in silence, enjoy a coffee or a tea, read a book with them. Just having that level of social interaction is that opposite side of loneliness, isolation, which plays a lot of stress and that not so good feeling when we're feeling that lonely feeling, right? So within social health, it's a way for us to boost things like endorphins, things like, I can't spell this, oxytocin. If you're doing things together, if you're laughing, if you're getting out for a walk, if you're just bantering, as we say in England, getting that serotonin as well. So again, we're not just looking at the physical element of the pain, how we can heal. We're looking at different arenas of our mental and emotional system, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, which are all favorable to our healing. So I'd say daily, if you can, some level of social interaction, even if it's on your phone or a little text message, that would be an amazing boost for your mind. Again, looking at your pain from another part of the puzzle. Then moving on to E. Sorry, I just need a little water. Moving on to E. So when we're moving our body, Again, we're thinking anti-inflammatory, we're thinking of an immune response, we're thinking of it soaking up inflammation and swelling, because we have a system called the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart. So it actually needs to be stimulated, and it can be stimulated through movement, through massage, through yoga, through breathing. And it's within that stimulation, it acts like a drain, it acts like a waste removal. So our lymphatic system is activated when we move, when we do gentle mobilization for our joints, when we go out for a walk, when we put our feet up against the wall to reduce the swelling in our legs. Whatever the movement looks like, just try to get some level of movement every single day. And I say daily mobility, daily stretching, a few times a week some strength training, and daily walking. Just think about as much movement, not going into areas of pain, looking around the body of where you can move. And within movement, it's not just a physical thing. Think of when you move, you get that amazing feeling after, right, of one, accomplishment, but two, the accomplishment in the sense of, I maybe didn't want to move today, but I did it, and now I feel amazing for doing so. But it's the endorphins we feel through the movement of our body. Endorphins after a walk, endorphins after lifting some weights, endorphins after doing your stretching. So that mindset alone, again, looking at the mental and emotional side, that mindset alone carries wonders for hope. You know, we have a fresher perspective, we're more positive. So we're looking at our pain thinking, yeah, mate, I'm gonna get you won't be here for too long, for example. But it's that mindset boost, which I almost, you know what, I feel it's the biggest component of physically moving. I always go to the gym and I come away with that mindset of tough at the start, but I feel so much better in my mind space, in my head space for doing so. So don't just look at it as the physical movement, think of it as movement for your mind as well. And then the F, check my camera's still rolling, cool. I could have probably thought of a better word or term for this than free up, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Free up chronic stress. So I put chronic because we need some level of acute stress. We need levels of stress for our survival, for adaptation. The Greeks call it eustress. We need stress when we go to the gym or when we stretch. When we do yoga, we stretch our body in these positions, or lifting a weight. We stress your muscles, your tissues, your fascia to essentially adapt. We need digestive stress to digest food and assimilate food. We need to stress our minds to get something done. Like tonight, I didn't want to film anything, so I had to stress my mind, that acute stress of you don't want to do it, but you're gonna do it, so go through that stress, the initial stress, to get it done. And then something comes out of it, right? So we need levels of stress, which is why I put chronic stress. Chronic stress in the sense of we're always feeling that fight and flight response. Our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is an area of our brain which influences stress, is flooding those stress hormones because of that thing at work, because of this thing going on at home, because of this pain maybe, because things aren't going too well, because there's been really bad news. That chronic levels of stress. And we know how that feels in our body. We feel tense, we feel apprehension. I saw time and time again, if a client or a patient came in when they had pain, but they had chronic stress more than usual, the pain was 5 to 10 times worse. So I saw it firsthand how chronic stress really does play a huge part in the pain cycle. So what can we do? Well, we can try and free some of it up. Because think of this, when we're stressed, when we're chronic stressed, remember what the brain perceives that as danger. Because once upon a time, that chronic stress was there to let us know there was an immediate danger, so we had to put all our focus on that danger to survive. Now that isn't the same signal. It's the same input, but it's a different signal, it's a different experience. But still our body does that. When we're chronically stressed, our brain says we need to deal with this stress. So it shuts down other systems. It doesn't want to look at appetite, doesn't want to look at digesting food, it doesn't want to look at what you've got to do later on, it doesn't want to look at what you want to have to dinner, it wants to look at this chronic stress. So what I'm saying there is, it doesn't want to look at repairing your pain either. It doesn't want to heal. It wants to look at this stress. So if we can mitigate that and let your brain know that, hey, actually, let's not focus so much on that stress. Let's turn our focus to looking at the healing side of our body, right? And we can do that through any means you want. Walking, getting outside, laughing, reading a good book, putting your feet up, going to yoga, doing some meditation, doing some breathing, cooking a good meal. So many different areas that we can manage our stress. But it all comes back to the biggest question. What do you find would reduce your stress the most or manage your stress? Because like I said, you're kicking the immediate focus of that stress down the road to, oh, now our brain can focus on other areas. And one of them being the healing. So just look at what we can do to manage your chronic stress, tapping into the emotional and mental side of things. Because we're one body, right? The physical isn't separate to our mental, emotional, spiritual systems. We're all one being. So this is going to have a massive impact, both to non-healing, but to also to healing. Okay, how does that sound? I think there's one more, and I didn't put that on here, but that's hope. Some sort of, you may have a faith, you may have your prayer, you may have quiet time. Tapping into hope. For me, it's having a sit on my board in the morning in between sets when I'm surfing and just having a word with myself of, you know what, today's a good day, whatever's happening, you can get through it. That's that chat to myself that whatever's happening, there's hope, there's strength. And for you, I think whatever that looks like for you, it's just having that same chat. You can get through the pain. You can get back on your feet. You can build your strength again. That mindset going into what you're going through right now of, you know what, I can get to where I want to get to. So having that hope, having that faith as well. Okay, let me leave it there. I've recorded this twice now. Hopefully the second time is better. Not that you saw the first time, but I had to redo it. Okay. Now there's people beeping outside. That's my cue to go. Any questions, let me know. Really hope that was helpful. Please subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate your time. Relief. Oh, by the way, sorry. This will be your check leaf. Check leaf? Wow. I need to sleep. You're thinking, have I rested? Sleep. Check. Have I eaten nutritious food today? Check. Have I gotten outside? Check. Have I done some level of social interaction? Cool. Have I moved? Great. Have I looked at managing my stress? So this is your daily checklist. I forgot to mention that point. Relief. Thanks for your time.